Good morning for my last morning here just outside of Taman Negara. This is the lovely room that I've had to myself while I've been here. 2 nights, there was someone in this bed here, but then since then, aside from the night in the jungle, of course, I've had this 4-person dorm all to myself, which has been fantastic. There's a sink, bathroom, and this is a quick look at what all my stuff looks like torn out of my bag. All my stuff there. I have a lot of clothing here airing out because my bag, I stripped it entirely after the hike yesterday and had stuff out here hanging on the clothesline there to dry in the sun. But today I'm leaving, so I have to repack all this nonsense back into the trusty Alpha 35 there. But yeah, it's a hot one out there today, and I need to get to KL, to Kuala Lumpur, and I did not book a bus, of course, because I don't want to pay for that, so I'm going to try to hitchhike there again, which I hitchhiked here from Cameron Highlands, and that was overall a very successful hitchhiking journey. I had the one questionable situation if you watched that video, but figured I'll give it a go again today. Just, you know, the bus there is pretty expensive. It's also 95 ringgit from here to KL, so figured what the heck, let's try another hitchhiking adventure. Yeah, that's the quick update for right now. Just thought I'd give you a quick look at what all my nonsense looks like when it's not in my bag. Pretty soon I'll be saying goodbye to this beautiful place here that I've been staying, and then on to a new adventure in KL. All right, let's get this hitchhiking journey started. It is like 12:15 right now, so I'm getting a super late start. But yeah, definitely not the best idea because there's already some gray looking clouds in the sky, and I'd really rather not get caught in any rain showers. But I'm just walking like 4 minutes to the edge of town here, and then I will see how long it takes to catch my first ride. All right, I'm out here on the main road. This road could not be quieter. There's not even a hint of a sign of a car, and this is the only road in and out from here. So I'm gonna cross my fingers, hope for the best. At least once I do get a ride on this road, I'm pretty much guaranteed to ride for like 65 kilometers because there are a couple places you can stop on this road, like a couple other like resorts and stuff, but not a whole lot. So most likely if I catch a ride here, they'll at least get me to the next town, which is Durantut. It is very hot and humid out here, so definitely hoping to catch a ride sooner rather than later. Well, that ended up being a lot easier than expected to get a ride. It was the second car that passed. He picked me up, and it's also the longest ride I've ever had. He took me 210 kilometers. He took a pit stop along the way so that me and his buddy could try durian. He just dropped me off here at this massive rest stop. I think the best option here is gonna be just to go up to people that I see in the parking lot and ask them if they're headed to KL. Because like the road's kind of funky and it's not really somewhere that people could stop if they're getting on the highway. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna go up and directly ask people, and yeah, a little bit different than I've had to do before, but I don't know, it's been super easy so far, so hopefully this works out as well. I gotta say, the old going up and just talking to people directly definitely is a bit of a harder method because you just have to straight up go up and ask people. It feels definitely a little bit more forceful going directly up to people, just asking if you can get a ride. Everyone's been really friendly so far, but definitely have asked probably about 15 people so far. There's one guy that just walked by. He was on his way to the bathroom and he said he'll think about it. So hopefully when he comes back, maybe I'm gonna get lucky. Maybe that's the one. A year or two ago, who would have thought that I'd be here at a random rest stop in the middle of Malaysia, just going up to people in a parking lot asking for rides? I certainly didn't think I'd be here, but here we are, and it's great so far. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to get a ride, but this is definitely a, you know, kind of new experience to push me out of my comfort zone a little bit, because it's one thing to just stand on the side of the road with your thumb up. It's another to directly approach people and ask if they can give you a ride. All right, that was probably the easiest, most painless public transport experience I've ever had. 3 ringgit and 20 cents for a quick little ride here. It was easy enough just to look at the map, see what location I needed to go to. And now I have a 1.5 kilometer walk to get to my hostel. Right as soon as I got out of the train station, I just went and stood outside of a KFC and mooched off of their Wi-Fi. You know, the whole not having cell service thing, you just gotta be creative when you need internet connection, which is really easy in cities because there's Wi-Fi networks all over. Today was about as seamless and easy as it gets when it comes to hitchhiking. Yeah, the first guy, he had the pit stop to have some durian, and then he also bought some water, and the next guy, he insisted on buying me a cold water, and he even went out of his way to drop me off at the train station. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just really a believer that hitchhiking when traveling is the best way to do it if possible. You just meet the nicest people, opens you up to new experiences, kind of, you know, brings you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And sure, of course, there can be dangerous situations occasionally, but you can run into that anywhere. You can run into that on a public bus, on a public train. You know, there's no way to entirely avoid any sort of risk. So I still am a firm believer in hitchhiking, and today is another great example of that. The first ride that I got was literally the second car that I saw, and then the second ride took me maybe 15 minutes, and that was a new experience itself, you know, having to actually approach people directly and just ask them for a ride. And hey, it worked out. I found the right guy, and now I've got 2 new friends here in Malaysia, which is awesome. So enough rambling about how much I love hitchhiking. I'm just gonna get this walk over with. Try not to get too sweaty on my way there. Thankfully it's not too hot here, but it is of course very, very humid.